Welcome to the Lou&Sue podcast.
Where we chat about life, love, and what we've learned.
So grab your cutest mug
and join us.
Ready?
Yeah.
Hi. Welcome to the Lou&Sue podcast. Today we have a different setting. We're on a little Galentine's
Vacay. Mini vacay.
Yeah.
2-day getaway.
But we're still coming to you. Today's episode is going to be Take It Easy.
Self-care and slowing down.
Yeah.
And it fits in very well with us doing our Galentine's getaway.
We're here out of province on purpose to slow down. And you want to talk a little bit about our getting here process of why slowing down is a good thing to do?
Yeah. The drive here was not fun. Yeah. So we took Lou's vehicle and she graciously let me drive. And
she's way better at navigation than me, so for me it was just a no-brainer. It's easier.
We thought, but...
No, she's still good at navigation. It's the other people.
We both were like, when we travel with men, they get very easily irritated.
Yeah, the road rage.
Yeah, and like a lot of times the vibe for your getaway with your spouse is ruined before you even arrive because he's so like over the traffic, and
whether he tries to or not, he's still taking it out on you. Somehow it's your fault.
Yeah,
even if it's just slightly, or even if the feeling is that us feeling like, oh my god, it's like is this my fault?
And
what is going on?
Intensity. Why is my microphone so high up? There we go.
That's fine.
Hi. So it was funny because we didn't react that way at all. No. And we stayed really calm. And I mean, the people here drive nuts. Like I thought they drove bad where we're from. And they have these traffic circles that have so 2 lanes.
They're everywhere.
And they're everywhere. And if you don't know 3 steps ahead of where you're going, you're going to be in the wrong lane of that traffic circle, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's you're just going to end up exiting and having to backtrack, which we had to do a couple times. But we stayed calm in that. And
that was kind of the thing. There was a little bit of a gratitude of us being together, where it was like, okay, so what? You took the wrong turn. That's cool. Yeah. You'll turn around. We'll go back. And I think both of us, but me for sure, I would have felt so bad that I took the wrong turn. I would have been made to feel bad that I made the wrong turn by at least a sigh. Which means that I wouldn't even be driving my own vehicle.
There would have been definitely an intensity there that we didn't have because it was you and I.
Clearly I've had bad experiences traveling with boyfriends. But that was the thing. It was so, we were annoyed. We're like, oh my God, what is going on? Why does this place suck so bad? Why does nobody know how to drive? But then it was like, all right, cool. Let's just get to her little
We laughed at it though.
Yeah, it's good. It's not her fault. It's not my fault.
Exactly.
We can easily make do. Okay, let's turn around where it's a little bit easier. Let's not go to the coffee shop that has a lineup to the street. We just pivoted where we had to pivot, and we just made it here, and it's so worth it here.
Beautiful.
It's really nice.
And I think initially when we came here, we had planned to record an episode just on self-care, and the direction of it changed a little bit based on just, when we were doing our prep for it.
It's still self-care, but it's kind of like more of the direction that self-care really should be, what really actually calms the nervous system and everything, and then makes it easier to be happy.
Yep. Yeah. When people think of self-care, they think of bubble baths and spa days
and those are nice.
Yeah, and they're nice.
Sure. And they're also necessary. You got to do that sometimes. Yeah. But the real self-care is
slowing down
and then curating your life and everything around your life to be as calm and easy as it can be, so that you can do the other things that you need to do, like eating healthy and working out, basically being healthy in general, so that you're there for your loved ones as well. Yeah. And that's really what self-care is.
I think a lot of times I will protect my time. Like I guard that like a fortress, but I protect it for what? Like I protect it to scroll on my phone, or I protect it to watch TV, or I protect it to have time to do things that are kind of not necessarily beneficial. So taking time and being intentional about how you're going to spend it Lou was telling me that was it a book that you were reading about the morning water?
Yeah, I started reading a book, and it was I can link it below because I cannot remember what it is. But there was the 3 things that you need when you wake up, and it was kind of like mostly for people that need to reset their circadian rhythm. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways, so but it works for everybody. So you need to rehydrate because you've been 7, 8 hours, whatever it is, while you're sleeping. You're probably somewhat dehydrated
Unless
when
you're
you go to
hooked up
bed
to
in
an
the
IV
first
while
place.
you're sleeping.
Wouldn't that? We should probably do that.
We
That
should
would be
start
nice.
doing that.
But you have to rehydrate, and you have to have like your electrolytes in there too. So he said like spring water. So, and then he also suggested put salt in water. I don't know about that, but either way, bottom line, you still have to rehydrate before your coffee.
Yeah.
So hydrate, so you get that, fill in everything, like rehydrate, and then you need light, like the blue light, so sunlight, and then you need to move.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be much. It doesn't have to be like go work out, but move somehow.
Yeah.
And just then
Get
your
your blood
body
flowing.
knows you're awake.
You're awake.
And you're ready
It
to go.
signals to your body. And I read a long time ago that waking up at the exact same time every day and going to bed at the same time at night is one of the ways that they recommend that you fight depression. And where we're from, there's not a whole lot of sunlight in the wintertime. So you're not getting as much vitamin D. And so just, again, with the habit stacking, waking up a little bit earlier so that you can make sure that you do all those things to take care of yourself, because if you're feeling good, then you're able to be there for other people and be patient.
Yeah.
And I think men are not as good at that. And so then when they get into these situations where they're stressed out, they really do tend to take it out on us. And it's not necessarily on purpose, but
no, but it makes sense, because if you're overtired, you're overstimulated, you're over whatever, I'm not going to be patient.
No.
And I'm not calm, and I just can't do it. And I've started realizing that. So I used to smoke, and as soon as I quit smoking, I immediately realized the road rage feel kind of diminished. And I wasn't expecting it, but it did. My nervous system was just more calm.
Balance
and
out.
I've been trying to kind of focus more on that, more and more and more, because I'm in a hurry naturally without knowing why I'm in a hurry. When I'm driving, sometimes it's not like I'm right up against people, but it's like I get frustrated. Like, why are you going so slow? And oh my God, you're so slow, girl.
Yeah.
Then I realize, I'm like,
what are you in a hurry for?
What? For what?
Yeah.
What's it actually going to solve? All I'm doing is heightening my nervous system and stressing myself out for no reason.
And you're ruining the present moment that you're in. And even if all you're doing is driving, this is still part of your life, and you only get so many precious moments of your life.
So like if you think about like that's the commute to work in the morning, and you're that stressed out, right? You're starting your day off doing that.
You're setting.
So get up even 5 minutes earlier to avoid that.
Absolutely.
And it changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The person who gets into a car accident is definitely going to be late for work. So
definitely.
Yeah, it's the I read a book once called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and I highly recommend it. There's way too many good points in the book to be able to quote them all or to even repeat them all. And they're not all in relation to self-care. But I did find a quote from the book. The book's written by John Ortberg. And it says, when our soul is in a healthy place, we are able to be patient, to be kind, to be at peace, and to be filled with joy. And I think that it's all connected, And in that book, he talks about how we're constantly being busy with something. And one of the examples that he used was talking about with our children, keeping them busy all the time, making sure they're in sports and making sure that they're academically busy, and that there's not a moment in the day that they're just allowed to be bored. And when Albert Einstein was in school, he was extremely bored. Come to find out, it's because he was too smart. He was not being challenged. But in that boredom was when he had the opportunity to actually develop the theory of relativity. So John Ortberg says that basically by filling those silences and not allowing our brains to be bored and to be, able to be creative and
Have time to let your imagination
yeah,
start going.
yeah, absolutely.
Let
And
the creative juices flow.
yeah. And if you fill those times up, you'll never have that. And
Yeah.
it's so good for you to be able to be creative and it, you know, everything from boosting your self-esteem. So part of my self-care that I've been doing lately is the coloring, the Ohuhu markers, and I can't remember the name of the coloring books, but I absolutely love them. And I'll do that for like an hour every night.
Mhm.
It keeps my hands busy, so it keeps me from snacking. It is very satisfying and it relaxes me, lowers my blood pressure. And I posted it on Facebook probably a week ago that was my new obsession. And a lot of people commented under that they do the same thing. It
It's a
clears their
common
head.
thing. You'll see it a lot of places. Yeah.
And so that is one of the things that I've been doing in addition to walks in nature is definitely one of mine as well. What's yours, your self-care go-tos?
Well, I think my situation is a little different because I don't have a lot of outside influence that I have to calm myself from. I've kind of okay, so I'm also separated right now, so I'm single. It's just me and the cats, and they don't tend to stress me out. I've on purpose created as stress-free of an environment for myself as I can, so that I don't need to find other ways to be calm.
You've created a life you don't need to escape from.
Yeah. So I've kind of reset my outlook when I'm at work. There's going to always be drama at work. It's, you can't hide from it.
Yeah.
But to focus on, if that has nothing to do with me, I might hear it, but I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah.
Because it's not important. And just focus on why I love my job and, the good parts about it. And then that's good. So work is not stressful aside from the normal stress, but whatever. It's not, it's a normal job. You're going to have stresses with every job. But then same thing, like my commute, I try on purpose to just be like, okay, well, I'll leave a little bit earlier if I need to and adjust how long I do. And I get to go home for work. So that's one thing too. Get to go home for lunch. So I kind of reset my day a little bit. I get to go home, relax during my lunch, again, hang out with my cats.
Yeah.
That's a happy place. And I even have my Facebook to the point where I don't see things I don't want to see on there. I've unfriended people I need to unfriend. I've had hide notifications from this person if it's something that triggers me. I don't need to stress myself out. So even me scrolling, as much as it's, a waste of time in general, I'm not stressing myself out for anything. It's just kind of like, okay, that's cool. And then I kind of get bored of it quicker, I think. And then my focus right now is fitness and nutrition and all that stuff. So basically if I'm scrolling on Instagram, that's essentially all I see.
Yeah.
Which is good. It keeps me, it helps me with my motivation to keep being motivated. So, and even my phone, literally my mom, her, Susan, and then maybe another friend are the only people that ever message me.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with that because I don't feel like I don't get notifications often, which stresses me out because if I had the little notification thing icon, I can't do it. I have to go take care of it and remove it.
I can't handle the red indicators.
But the fewer of those that I get, the less I even think about it when it does happen. Because if she texts me, it's usually, I'm happy to get a text from her and I want to keep talking to her versus somebody's like, oh, this person again.
Well, we just finished watching a podcast this morning where she was talking about reducing your screen time.
Yeah.
And not scrolling. She said for the first 2 hours that you're awake in the morning and the last 2 that you're up in the evening as well.
1 or 2 before you go to bed, yeah.
Yeah, and I can definitely relate to the notification thing, and I have gotten rid of everything on my phone, although I still have Instagram, it's not on my phone. So, because I find it very intrusive and overwhelming that people can message me on 4 or 5 different platforms. I have a cell phone number, and if you have it, then I probably want you in my life. And as far as as more than just so an acquaintance that you can see my coloring that I'm doing, So, the important things like that. And then the other platforms, I check a lot less now. And my husband and I have made a new rule in the house as of, February 1st, I think, that we no longer have cell phones allowed in the living room at all. Because that is the only place that we all gather to spend time together, whether it's watching television or playing a game or
then you actually spend
coloring.
that time together without other distractions.
Yeah.
Because even if your phone's just in there, you're not scrolling or anything.
Yep.
You'll get a notification.
Yeah.
You're going to check it every once in a while, even if you put it on silent.
Mm-hmm.
So just take the temptation completely away. It's good. Yeah.
At first I bought a little, like a treasure chest thing so everybody could put them in there as soon as they come in the living room. Yeah. And that didn't end up working. People were not putting them in there.
Not receptive to that.
Yeah. And of course, as we've discussed many times, my love of Amazon, I found a little plaque that's about this big and it says no cell phones, please. And it's really cute and it's gold. And so I took a command strip and I stuck it on the top of the television. Mm-hmm. So, cause that's your focal point when you're in the living room. So everybody that comes in there is going to see it, even if they're a guest in our house, it's no cell phones. Mm-hmm. So at, 6:30, 7 o'clock, I'll go put my phone on the charger in the bedroom and it stays there for the rest of the night. The only issue I'm finding is that if my daughter's out and about and she texts me, I don't get the text. Yeah. So I have to kind of leave my smartwatch on so I at least get the
notification
that she's trying to reach me.
Okay, this is important or this is not important.
It's hard because you still have to prioritize the safety of your children, obviously. So finding that balance, and balance is,
I was going to say, that's self-care. The key, I think, to everything.
Yeah. It's
finding the balance in your life where you're happy, but you're not sacrificing so much either. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's hard. My balance right now that's hard to find is like I'm too lenient on myself. And I don't want to be hard on myself, and that's good. But at the same time, I have goals, and I'm not trying hard enough, I think, to achieve them. I'm too lenient, and I need a little bit more structure. I think
the way that I worded it to Lou earlier is, if you use working out as a reference kind of thing, if you're not feeling tired, uncomfortable, I'm not going to say pain. I don't like the word pain when it comes to working out, but if you don't feel uncomfortable, if you're not out of breath, you're not improving. You're not getting any better.
Yeah,
you have to push yourself past the point of comfort. Mm-hmm. And that's true for a lot of things in life. Mm-hmm. And I've always found too, because we take Sundays off in my family, that's the day we don't do any work and we relax and we spend time together and we're more intentional about relaxation. But having said that, the days that I take a Sunday where I literally do nothing all day, I barely get off the couch. Like if I were to count my steps, it'd be like 500, Yeah. I kind of feel depressed at the end of the day. Like I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
So again, with the balance, still, we go to church in the morning and then usually we do a Costco run afterwards because it's very close to there. And then, we might do a load of laundry and maybe go for a walk. So we're not doing nothing, but it is definitely, again, intentionally calmed, slower pace.
Yeah. But you do get some productivity done earlier. So then
it still needs to be done.
The day. Yeah.
And it's, you only have so many hours in your week to do things, but being organized helps with that too. Like I'm lucky that I do 40 hours at work, but I do it in 4 days. So I have 3 days off a week, and Tuesdays is my running day. That's get all my appointments done. And Saturday is podcast day. And usually cleaning day and all that. But I try to make sure that everything is done so that Sundays you don't have to. And it doesn't always work that way. Life has obstacles and issues and things like that. So,
but if that's a general goal, you're going to get pretty close to being fully relaxed that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to have goals. If you want to know where you're going to be in a year, this is like our last podcast, the goal setting. We haven't. One of our podcasts that we did. To be announced.
Yeah.
We're kind of getting out of order now because of this. But and then when I was doing a little bit of the research for today's topic, they were talking about toxic self-care.
Toxic self-care.
And I had never heard of that before. And you can, basically they were saying you can get to the point where you've read, you have self-help book overwhelming. There's too much information coming at you. And
It's basically the overdoing
Yeah.
of
And
any of it.
it
Like
makes you feel,
too many books, too much spa, too much, um, just like I said, I'm too lenient, too much leniency.
Mhm.
Be like,
Well,
okay, well, this is a rest day. Well, you don't have to lay in bed all day on your rest day.
doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
But you can feel so overwhelmed that you feel like, there's no chance of your life ever meeting these standards.
Right. Yeah.
And then the other one was basically becoming, what's the word? Antisocial, because you're spending so much time on self-care and alone time and quiet that you kind of forget that there's a great big world out there. And I asked my daughter about this episode too and what she considered self-care. And she actually instantly, without even thinking, it was like, oh, helping others.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right. What is the thing that makes you feel good every time? Is when you help others, right? So I thought that was really kind of, instead of it being selfish care, it's self-care. And you can, practice that by helping others and get out of your own head, because sometimes we hear our own dialogue way too much.
Yeah.
Just stop talking to yourself and get out there and do something, put some action behind the thoughts. So
Yeah. I
that
think
was a good one.
I think as you mature and stuff, you realize that self-care really isn't just about the bubble baths and all that stuff. It really is doing what you need to do to be your best self.
Yeah.
Which also means maybe traveling somewhere else, maybe pushing yourself to meet new people, or reach out to a friend that you haven't reached out to in a long time. But it's all these things that better yourself and everybody around you, and that's real self-care.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And knowing your limits too, with like you were saying, like curating your Facebook and your social media and stuff, so you don't see things that trigger you or upset you, but also knowing when and how to say nicely to people who are in your life. Like if it's 8:00 at night and my husband starts talking about politics, it gets me riled up.
Yeah.
And even if I don't have an opinion, it changes, it shifts the way my brain is thinking. And it's not conducive to me relaxing and getting ready for bed and ready to sleep. I want happy thoughts for those last couple hours of my night. And that's the whole point of me getting rid of my phone. So if he's just going to sit there and tell me everything that I would have been scrolling through, that defeats the purpose.
Well, your wind down period needs to be a little bit sacred.
Yeah.
It has to be done properly so that you can you're wound down enough when you go to bed that you can actually sleep. And getting enough sleep is one of the most important things that we need for ourselves. So
you learn that as a kid when your parents, if you're having a crabby moment and you're having a meltdown, your parents, the first thing they do is say, you need a nap.
Yeah.
And it's true, even if we're adults, even
if
we're adults, we are adults, apparently. Even no matter how old you are, there's times when you just need a nap.
Yeah. Usually I need food.
Yeah.
I get the hangries.
Hangry's not good. That's
Again, self-care. Eat enough.
Well, and then we were looking into like the meal prepping that I used to do frequently, all the time, to avoid being hangry and making sure that you're getting the proper nutrition, being prepared and doing that all in one day so that your week you're not making bad decisions because you're hangry, so it's so multi-layered. And we were talking at work the other day about Herkle-Durkle. This is like a new word.
I hadn't heard it before. She had to tell me about it.
It's like the art of doing nothing, laying around and doing nothing. And like that is the society that we're in now, that we actually had to come up with a word for that. Because if you think back, I don't know, let's say 100 years ago, when farming was pretty, like everybody was a farmer.
Yeah.
You'd wake up in the morning and your whole life was work. From the moment that you put your feet on the floor to the moment you laid your head on the pillow at night, everything you needed for your life required you to work for it. So taking that day off, typically either a Sunday or a Saturday, to rest was so necessary, because this would never have occurred to them to have self-care, because there was no option. But they were so productive in what they were doing. I'm sure that they were exhausted, but everything they did had you could see the fruits of your labor,
Yeah.
right? So from growing the wheat to grinding it to making it into bread and baking it and then sitting down with your family and eating it, like our world now, we don't do that.
No, everything's a production.
Mm-hmm.
Machines.
Yeah, and we're working 8 hours a day, most of us, and we have more, because of our luxuries and how easy we've made everything, we have more free time than ever, and yet we're unsatisfied and bored. And we need self-care, but we have more free time than ever.
Of Netflix and all of these things where we waste so much time and scrolling on social media. And there's ways to do things that are still productive. You can listen to a podcast or, you could read the books or whatever you need to do is still more productive than just sitting and watching mindless TV, which I'm a very big fan of that too. I do like to do that sometimes. But balance is, again, it comes back up, just the balance of it. Yeah. So on, let's say, a Sunday, if I want to I usually take my rest days from working out on Mondays and Fridays. It tends to work for me. But on a Sunday, let's say I get up and I'll do a workout, so it's done. I feel productive. I do some laundry, whatever I'm going to do. I'm going to try to meal prep. I'm still working on that. But I try to get all that done the earlier I can so that I can just sit and just completely binge watch a show if I want to do that. Yeah. And I'm open to do that. But because I've done all of these things first, I don't feel bad about doing that. If all I do is get up, and I mean, this has happened, and sometimes I don't feel bad about it. If I wake up with a headache or something and it's not the right day, it's an off day, and that's all I do all day, as long as I don't do that too often, it's not so bad, but I tend to feel worse about it. Yeah. It's like, oh, I didn't do anything. My headache is actually worse. I've noticed if I get up and move around, oh my God, it's funny. I actually feel better.
Well, if Christmas were every day, it wouldn't be as special, right? Same. So when we carve out time that is specifically for doing nothing, or we end up doing something, it basically we can do whatever we want, guilt-free. If it's a set period of time that makes sense, like 2 hours or whatever, enough to watch a movie, that can be guilt-free. It wouldn't be depressing because you just feel lazy.
You appreciate it so much more. Yeah. And then you soak it in more. Like you actually enjoy the moment more. And I'm guilty of this too. I look so much into the future that I have a hard time really being in the present.
Being present is extremely difficult.
Being able to do that is be like, carve out time like this. I'm an adult now. I can do whatever I want. I don't have anybody else that lives with me. So I really can do whatever I want. And that's not always good. Yeah. So if I carved out more time for the self-care that, like what we're saying, like focusing on my health and what I need to do for myself, when I do say, take the time, like, hey, you can watch a movie, you can watch whatever shows you want, you can sit and do absolutely nothing if you want, do whatever you want. This is your open time. I'm going to appreciate that much more versus when I just do it all the time.
Yeah, my mom used to say, like, work before play kind of thing. Yeah. And she would not sit down until the dishes were done and the kitchen was clean at the end of the night. She couldn't relax if she knew that there was chores that needed to be done. But once they were done, then she could truly, unwind. And sometimes for her that wasn't, and she worked outside the home, but sometimes for her that wasn't until 8:30 at night, and my mom usually went to bed at 9. So she might only have a half an hour of sort of her time. So for me, it works better to take my time in the morning. So I wake up early, and I've talked about this before, but I wake up early on purpose before everybody else is up so that I have a good hour of, shower, coffee, Bible reading, prayer, quiet. But I have been scrolling though through that. And so my next one is to add the no phone
for the first hour or two. Right?
Yeah. And I do, some of my devotions are actually on my phone. So, and my alarm is my phone as well. So I guess that's going to have to be a trick of like, okay, maybe
just finesse it. You'll figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah. Because there are some mornings that I scroll for 45 minutes and I feel like I've wasted that, quiet, peaceful time that I got up early to scroll. Yeah.
To be fair, she did say, not necessarily no phones, but she said no notifications. So she did like the do not disturb. Yeah. So there are ways where you could just use your alarm. You can hide your social media, like you've taken it off your phone before. Hide it so that it's not so tempting.
Mhm.
And then when you're done all of that stuff, if you have more time, then feel
Then
free to
scroll.
scroll
Yeah.
for a little bit before you have to go to work.
I think ideally I would like to do the whole wake up, hydration, go for a walk.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love it if the sun was already up. It's not going to be up at like 5:30 in the morning, but getting fresh air at least. And then, you know, I'm back and showered and everything before anybody even wakes up.
Mhm.
That would be ideal for me. And I can't wait till the winter's over and there's no ice on the ground and I don't have to worry about slipping.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that that would be a healthy move for me and something that I would be able to do because I would like to get up and go to the gym in the morning, but I'm not going to. And I know I'm not going to.
I'm just saying, like, I have the gym in my apartment, my own apartment. And it's like, I wake up, I'll set my alarm, like, hey, I'm going to at least just consider it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't want to exert that much energy. And I'm always so jealous of people that do that because honestly, logically, that makes the most sense. And I am actually working on trying to get to that point because I feel like throughout the day, it's too easy to have too many excuses throughout the day.
Yeah.
Versus in the morning, honestly, my only excuse is like, well, I'd rather just go back to bed. But I'm working on it.
Yeah. I think your why for doing it has to be louder.
Yeah. And again, my issue is I'm just too lenient on myself. I can easily say, well, I'm just going to go back to bed. I slept enough. I'm awake, but I don't feel like working out.
But exerting energy when you're first awake is hard too. And I don't remember where it was I read it, but some people are even nauseous in the morning and it can actually make them be sick to their stomach. So, and I feel like that's how I would be too if I was doing actual muscle training.
Yeah.
A walk is different, but like actually doing anything that's going to cause me to sweat would be kind of not so great.
I have done that though, where I got up and I went for a walk and I always felt so amazing after that.
Yeah.
But again, this time of year, I'm not doing that because I'm too scared of slipping on something and hurting myself and then not being able to do any of it.
You just need to move to California.
Yeah, not right now.
No. Yeah, no. And I think anytime I've ever watched any kind of podcast with anybody who's like a bodybuilder or into fitness, in general, they always seem to, well, first of all, they prioritize. They make time for it. But they do seem to do it first thing in the morning. You know,
but I think that's part of it is it's the easiest time to just be like, okay, I'm doing this for me. And if I have to wake up earlier, I wake up earlier. I'm doing this for me. Like like you said, your example, you get up and do it before anybody else even gets up.
Yeah.
Because then you're not taking any time away from them. You don't feel guilty about any of that.
Yeah, I think sometimes it would be easier if I didn't have such a social job where I didn't feel like I needed, like I talk all day long.
Yeah.
Every 15, 20 minutes, there's another person, there's another conversation. And I love my job, don't get me wrong, but it drains you.
It's very draining. Yeah.
And I don't have much left to give. Funny that I decided to do a podcast, eh? I don't want to talk anymore. Let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I need a lot of reset. I need a lot of refreshing, you know. So I think that time is really important for me. And that's why I was able to make it a habit. I've been doing that for a year now because I actually enjoy it. You're not going to make something a habit that you don't enjoy. You have to find a way to make it enjoyable and that there's an actual reward for you in it as well, that you can see that's tangible. So yeah. And if you miss one day, not beating yourself up is a big one too, because it's sometimes we can have this
in the grand scheme.
You
of
want to
things,
be perfect.
It's not going to show. It's not going to matter if you miss one day.
It will matter if you miss the second day and then the third day, and then you just drop the habit completely. You know, I asked Lou earlier today. I was like, "Well, think about things that are a habit for you. Like, how did you make that a habit? What you probably did it without even thinking about it.
That's what most of mine are."
Yeah, it was something that you enjoyed. And that goes for the bad habits too. Like we create them unintentionally a lot of times. You try something once, you like it, like gambling. You know, I'm not saying I'm a gambler, but I'm sure that's how it starts.
Yeah.
You try it once, you win, and you try it again. You're like, this is kind of fun. And before you know it, you're gambling every day. You lose your house. Anyway.
Yeah. Self-care. Don't gamble.
Just self-care.
Don't
slow down. Yeah. And I was telling them too that I'm a very fast eater, and that's kind of a hazard of my job is like rush through. And slowing down is something like you being present is really hard for me, and it has to be very intentional. You have to be aware of it. I remember when we were kids, they were like, you need to chew your food. Like, what was it? Every mouthful, like 25 times or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And
But it's like let your saliva break down the food
it's
so that
so
your
gross,
stomach doesn't
though.
have to break down all the food.
I'm very curious if everybody else feels the same way as me. I would gag because it would become such mush.
It depends
It's
what
like,
you're eating, but yeah,
bleh.
I tend to chew quite a bit. However,
Mhm.
it depends what you're eating, for sure.
3 chews and it's down for me. So
I'm already a slow eater. I feel like I'm more like a grazer.
mhm.
I could, and we talked about this, but I could eat small amounts, like literally all day.
Mhm.
Except I can't do that because I have to go to work and I have other things
Mhm.
I have to do and things like that. But
Yeah.
when I have my meal, sometimes it takes me a long time to eat a meal,
Mhm.
which is healthier.
Yeah.
However, sometimes it takes too long and I have to learn how to eat a little bit faster.
Like speed up.
Speed up a little bit. But
before
at least that part I can do, but I'm just still trying to like apply that to more things in my life. Like,
Mhm.
okay, just slow down. I will say one thing. This blonde in my hair, I have a goal in mind.
Mhm.
But because it's blonde, right, and it's like bleach and things like that, this is a very big test of my patience
Mhm.
and my persistence. And I've spoken a different episode about I do have the persistence
Mhm.
for my hair.
Yeah.
But generally at this point I would have colored something over top because I'm like, okay, it's taking too long. But no, I've decided that I'm gonna try to just to get it, but get it properly and
Mhm.
do it so I still have hair left.
Yeah.
But it's good. I'm slowing down. I'm calming down. I'm like, okay, live
Sometimes
with it how
she
it
needs
is.
somebody to remind her when she has a moment where she's going to color it too.
Yeah. I'll always text Susan and she'll be like, no, wait.
We had a challenge this past summer where she wasn't allowed to dye her hair for
I think it was 3 months.
3 or 4 months, something
because
like that.
it was October. So whenever we did it, it was like,
Mhm.
okay, by the end of October, then you can
Yeah.
do it if you want.
Yeah, her hair was breaking and I was like, okay, well, you need to give it a break and just keep it like, I think it was brown, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Just keep it your own color for like 4 months. And I was keeping her sort of honest with it.
And I did
And
it.
you did it. And I think
And then I did this.
but you did it. It doesn't matter. You did.
Yeah.
And that sort of broke that habit of you doing it all the time.
But it made me calm down
Yeah.
and relax about, okay, I don't need to be on to the next thing.
It's okay.
And even if my hair is an in-between color like it is right now and it's not quite the way I want it,
Mhm.
I'm not a hairdresser. I don't have a job where it has to be looking perfect.
Mhm.
I work at a motorsports store. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Well,
Honestly.
I am a hairdresser and nobody cares. So
Yeah, well, you're a barber. It's a little bit different. But still, the
Yeah.
point is that I can throw it up in a ponytail and it's okay to
Mhm.
leave it in between phases.
Yeah.
And normally I would never do that.
Mhm.
The only in between, okay, so when I was a bartender, I would throw a hat on that day if it was in between, but that was rare
Mhm.
because it had to look how I wanted it to look. And
Mhm.
it's a lot of over processing my hair doing that,
Mhm.
which is not good. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to embrace the journey,
Mhm.
which is the same for a lot of other things.
We have
Embrace the journey.
We live in a day and age where instant gratification is everywhere.
Yeah.
And you don't have to really wait for too many things. You know, your food is hot in 30 seconds with the microwave. And,
Yeah.
you know, I gave my daughter bangs the other day and I'm trying to explain to her, she wants the swoop, you know, the curtain bangs.
Mhm.
And she's using hot styling tools every single day. And I said, like, you are going to fry your bangs because you're constantly like, you know, you're going to have to accept the fact that the first day you wash your hair and you do it, it's going to look great. And then the second day it might be a bobby pin day or a dry shampoo day.
Yeah.
And
switch up your style a little bit to make it work.
yeah, like, and this is just, you know, she's 17. She's just the first time she's figuring this out. And I feel very blessed that I have the knowledge to give to her because my mother didn't, like for beauty tips and stuff like that, or to walk you through it. And when you don't have somebody to be your mentor, you have to kind of do the research and learn and educate yourself.
Yeah.
Which is what we're doing all the time, you know. And
thankfully we have the resources.
Yeah.
Now, but
again, with the instant gratification though, it used to be pull a dictionary off the wall and look it up, but now we can Google whatever we want. Which is It is nice though, in some ways. And
yeah, if you use the social media and everything properly, it can be very educational. I like YouTube for a lot of things because you can learn just about anything.
And we're on YouTube.
And we're on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's not about just listening to what somebody's saying. They're showing you what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you can see it. And it's so much better than, you got to try things for yourself too. But it helps with avoid some of the trial and error.
Yeah.
At least have a little bit of extra guidance. And it's nice to have that. I very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I'll try more things because I feel like I have more knowledge before I'm ready to try it.
I really like the motivation of it too. Like if your goal is to start, like, let's use the meal prepping. If your goal is to start eating healthier and meal prepping and you want to make sure your macros are balanced, you literally can type that into YouTube and watch video after video of people who have done it, done the research, done the work, and then
give you examples, send you recipes.
Concisely, like down to a 10-minute thing that would have taken you years to learn. And it does take time to get used to it though. Like the people who are good at things and that you look at and you wish you were like that, they worked hard to get there. They've
been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I get annoyed, and I have for years because I've been cutting hair for 23 years. There's always somebody new, right? And they are frustrated that they either don't have a clientele or they don't know how to blend properly or whatever it is. Okay, well, I've been doing this for 23 years. I wasn't great at it at first either. And I still have days where I struggle. I have days where every haircut looks awesome. And I have days where it feels like I can't do anything right. And that is just life. And you try to tell them that, but it's like they just need to experience it for themselves. So, but what do they say? You need, is it 10,000 hours or something to become? I don't remember the number.
Lot.
It's a lot. You have to practice.
But think about any new job you started. You're not going to be good at it to start.
No.
And then eventually you get comfortable because you've repeated the same things so many times and now you know all the answers to the questions that you had. But that's the same with starting any hobby, trying any new habit to create a habit. You're going to suck to start because it's not something you're used to. And that's totally normal. And eventually it will be second nature and you won't have to think about it.
And I know,
just think about that. Like, don't focus on, oh, we're never going to get there. This is, I don't know how many podcasts we have already, but it's like, this isn't our first one anymore.
Close to 10.
We're getting better. Our sound's getting better. Our lighting's getting better.
Yeah, each one's a little different.
And now we look at our feed and we're like, hey, we have some videos lined up. You have to start somewhere to get somewhere. But then all of a sudden you're going to look and be like, hey, we got quite a few going.
There's so many things that we're saying that I want to say. Well, in the book, Let Them, which is an episode that we're going to be filming
soon, and we're going to have our first,
and we're going to have our first guest, and we're really excited about it. And honestly, that book, I'm not going to say anything because I want to save it, but
it's so life changing. It was amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter what it is. I can refer back to that about any situation, and it helps it.
Yep.
So I'll leave that at that because I'm going to
stay tuned for that one. I think that's going to be in 2 weeks.
I almost feel like that needs to be like a 3-parter. It's such a big, like, maybe we split it into 2. We'll see.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for it. We're definitely doing it.
And even that, it's kind of scary. We've never had anybody on the show before. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to go.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have somebody who's gung ho to try.
Yeah. Very excited.
But if we don't try, we'll never know. And so so for me, there was a time when it did kind of click though. And I think I was probably about 18 years into my career. And that sounds like a long time, but I all of a sudden had this moment of like, there's nothing that's going to come and sit in my chair that is going to throw me for a loop or overwhelm me. Not that I know everything, I'm still learning all the time, but I finally felt...
You have all the basics down.
Oh, such a good feeling. I'm like, I am good at this. I know what I'm doing. It's a little bit too artistic to say that everybody will like what I'm doing, right? Yeah. That's the thing with this job is that some people are not going to like you. You can be awesome. You can be bubbly. You can cut their hair perfectly and it doesn't click. And you have to have a bit of a thick skin with that. But it was a very good feeling knowing that I actually know what I'm doing. Yeah. And I've settled into not complacency, but settled into a groove.
Yeah,
you know,
the confidence.
Confidence, yeah.
The confidence that comes with the comfort.
Yeah.
Of just knowing.
And I want that confidence in other parts of my life too.
Yeah.
And I know if it took me that long, then I'm going to have to put the work in. And we were talking earlier about that it might take a year for certain things. And Lou was like, that sounds like a really long time. It is a long time.
Yeah, it does. But then all of a sudden a year has gone by and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this time last year I was saying how long it was going to be. And look at that. That already went by.
Because progress isn't linear. Yeah. It's up and down and loops around. And
we all know that. We're very aware of that. Yeah. Like you see that everywhere.
So you can't take, a month worth of progress and base that on how well you're going to do.
The bottom line is if you have one flat tire, don't slash your other 3. If you have one bad day, okay, start the next day better and just get back to it.
That's right.
And that's it. Because in the grand scheme of things, one day here and there is not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
But as soon as you sabotage, well, my whole week is ruined. So I was watching a different podcast earlier, and they were talking about, this is February right now, and how many people drop off. I think it was like 90% of New Year's resolutions have dropped off by, I think, March 1st. So 2 months in. 2 months in a calendar of 12 months. You got lots of months left. Yeah. Your year is not ruined.
You know what the funny thing is about that is that for my daughter, we had a rule that anything that she signed up for, she had to complete. So when she did piano and she was struggling and she kind of didn't want to practice and stuff like that, I said, that's fine. And you don't have to do it next year, but you have to complete, like if the year ended in June, you have to complete this year because you signed up for it. You said you would, you need to show up. I am not that strict with myself, but I was with her. And now I see the benefits of that in her personality where she actually does show up. And I think that that's a really good sort of rule of thumb. If you say you're going to do something for a year, you've committed to it. You have to show up. You have to do it for a year. And as adults, because we can just do it, we can order the takeout or we can just go sit on the couch and watch Netflix, doesn't mean we should. And I need to honor commitments we've made to ourselves as well as others.
Yeah, we need to show up for ourselves, and we don't need to show up perfectly. We just need to show up.
Yeah.
And the more we do that, the more pride we'll get from it. And the more we're going to see the benefits.
That's right.
But I'm still working on it.
And it's not going to happen, but if you show up every day for a year to the commitment that you made for a better you, you are going to be better in a year.
Yeah.
I guarantee you're not going to look back in a year and go, well, that wasn't worth it.
No. No.
So
it's like the next, they say 6 months. The next 6 months are going to go by whether you do the thing or you don't.
That's right. Yeah.
So
do it for the you of 2026.
Yeah. Do it for future Lou and future
Sue. Do you have anything you're loving right now?
Future self.
We didn't even talk about that.
We did not talk about that.
I'm loving this.
I'm also loving this.
Yeah.
This is nice. We've been friends for 10 years. We've been pretty close for a few years now. And we learned some things about each other this weekend already.
We did some
it's fun. Like we did some questionnaire
truth or dare without the dare last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
It got interesting. It was fun.
Yeah. It's funny how you can know somebody for that long and not know things about them.
Well, we didn't grow up together.
Yeah.
So you only know me relationship wise with one person.
Yeah.
I've had past experiences. So we talked a little bit about those and it's like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense now. I understand this part of you because of this.
Yeah.
And because we didn't grow up together, she doesn't know this. Right?
We were bonding last night over Natalie and Bruglia's wispy hair.
We both wanted it at the time.
And we both have thick hair. And it just, you can't do those cute little, and I know the thin girls are going to be upset with me for even saying it because the thin hair, they want thick hair and we want the fine, be able to do the sassy styles.
Now we've grown up and realized what we can and can't do.
Right.
Like how we can and can't style. I was 13 for the Natalie Imbruglia haircut. I did not have the tools I needed or the products I needed to have done anything good with that.
Yeah.
And it was the longest grow out process for me ever. So I've never chopped my hair again. But
I would chop my hair off tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm still glad I guess I'm glad I did it because now I know that I don't want short hair. Yeah. But I have styling tools now. I have hair straighteners because my hair is also, I got enough of a wave that choppy razor look doesn't work when you have that much volume to your hair.
Yeah.
and that much texture.
But
and
also, and this is what I tell my
free.
hairdresser all the time, like, go ahead and fry it because I like the wispy.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like super blunt.
That's what I have right now.
Yeah, we naturally have texturized our hair through bleach, basically.
But, and again, I'm very blessed that I have the amount of hair that I have because I have as much breakage as I get and I still have hair.
And you still have a ponytail, yeah.
And I still have a ponytail. So I'm very fortunate because I put my hair through a lot.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, is this is something that I enjoy doing. If I would do it and my hair was thinner or more fragile and I couldn't do it, I would know where my limits are.
And you didn't learn how to do it overnight.
No, I've been doing this since I was 15.
That's right.
Like that's almost 25 years now.
But yet you don't
that's
give
a lot
yourself
of experience.
enough credit and like to put the effort into other things. Not you specifically, we as people, you know, like it's so weird how we can like, we don't look at all of our accomplishments and how much we know how to do. And I mean, we're not still crawling around on the floor, we're walking. So I don't wear diapers anymore. So that's cool.
Me neither.
Body trained, you know.
Like, I think what's good to do is, you know how they say like to write the goals and stuff like that, but you also have to take an
inventory,
a bird's eye, an overall look, and reposition some of your thought processes of, okay, so what happened between last year and this year? That went pretty fast. Yeah. So if I'm looking at it that way, this time next year, this is a very realistic goal.
Absolutely.
So let's go for that versus, well, that's too hard. It's too far in advance. I can't think of that. Normally, well, you can if you look back and you actually take, you know, into account like what you have accomplished already.
But isn't that part of the problem with the New Year's resolutions? Because typically they start in January and most people's are like, oh, I want a bikini body by June. Okay. So you've got like 5 months tops, right? To go from whatever you're at to, they call it beach ball body to bikini body. And as opposed to saying, you know what, like I was telling you last night, I've got a goal for next June. So I've got a year and a half. Mentally, I have something in my head I want to accomplish. I'm not trying to put the pressure on myself to do it in 3 months. I'm trying to put the pressure, well, not put pressure. I've set myself a goal that I know I have a year and a half to accomplish.
Yeah, and we're not going to get into this too far because you can find this everywhere. But the point is be realistic with yourself.
Yeah.
But have your long-term goal and then have your shorter goals that get you to that goal. And that just makes, again, with the self-care is like, you don't be so hard on yourself that you set all these resolutions that were not even feasible. Like you can't
and
have
maybe
that
too many of them all at once.
Too many
too.
all
like
at once.
Trying to
habit stack is the key, right? So it's
slow,
like
steady.
One little thing at a time.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
Yeah. Till it becomes second
nature. Doesn't matter how baby
of
a step it is.
That's right.
But that's how you get there.
Yeah.
And that's what they say. 1% improvement every day is 365 by the end of the year.
That's a lot of percent.
It's also 30 by the end of the month.
That's right.
It's always moving forward is the point. And you're going to take a step back, but if you take 3 steps forward the next day, you're still forward.
That's right.
And that's self-care. Be kind to yourself, but keep working on the things that you know are going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah, be super aware of that inner dialogue. If it's all negative, then your life is going to show that negative. Yeah. No, but so this is my favorite thing, I think. I love it. This view is unreal. This is Gaspereau PEI. And we're looking at I don't know what bottom water that is. I don't know if that's a lake or a bay or whatever, but it's beautiful. And last night I thought we were going to die because the wind was so strong.
It was so strong.
I thought the siding was going to, I kept picturing a tree breaking and the trunk of it flying through the window and going right through the center of my body. And she's like, you're watching too much Final
Destination-esque. I like we've talked about this before, how the aesthetic makes us so happy, but the outside of the building has got so much black and then natural wood. Yeah. And then the inside has some, but it has a lot more of a boho theme and a lighter theme that it's so cozy while it's so open.
A tiny bit nautical too. There's shiplap everywhere.
It's just
the furniture is warm.
Our style.
Yeah, it's beautiful here. I want to build this. We were saying we might.
I think she said this like 23 times so far. She's like, okay, we're building this.
I'm building this. And he's building. There's 2 of them now, and then he's building. It looks like 2 more.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's two full bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, king size beds, like unreal. Anyways, if
Beautiful. We picked a good spot.
yeah, if you guys want to know where this is, maybe comment. I don't think we should link it just because we don't have
Maybe go on
permission.
our Instagram and send me a DM.
Yeah.
And
we'll let you know where
go
it's
from
at.
there because
And I found that the price was really reasonable too. So
yeah.
for
we
a
are a
weekend
little
getaway,
off season because it is really right on the water. It's beautiful, but it's still beautiful in the wintertime.
Yeah. And we have to figure out a place to go for Lou's birthday getaway too. So if you guys know of any places that you can suggest.
It is my 40th birthday this year. I kind of have to do something special.
Yeah.
And I've asked Susan to be part of that with me.
Yeah.
I like these kind of things, spa-related things, just something.
Are we going to film an episode on your
some
birthday?
kind of getaway. We'll see. Probably. Depending where we're going.
Maybe evolve
This is 40. This is what 40 is.
This is 40.
Probably no different than when I was 39 the day before.
That's right. But there's something about it.
There's something about it. She knows. I don't know yet.
Yeah. Everything hurts more at 40.
I'm already starting to feel some of that.
All right.
Yeah, so this is our self-care. Slow things down.
Yep. Taking it easy.
Take it easy. Yeah, do the things that just are good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to be better for other people.
Yeah.
And the more calm your nervous system is, the better it is for
everybody. Self-care really, in the long run, is caring for others too.
Yes.
Put your oxygen mask on first.
Yes. All right. So from us to you.
Keep growing and
glowing.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching our podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. And follow us on our social media at Lou&Sue Podcast on both Instagram and TikTok. See you next week.